morning, everyone. A little bit of a different format today. Normally it's focusing on the coffee while I talk. Now I'm going to focus on my talking while I coffee. This weekend, long weekend, was fantastic. So I went to RiffTrax in Minneapolis this past weekend. It was Saturday night at 7 p.m. Minneapolis time, and it was great. And all of the people that are planning to attend the August 8th and or the August 13th rebroadcast will have a good time. It was great. And Indy has been very upset with me since we got home. Like, why have you been gone? Sometimes I don't know you're gone. Sometimes I realize all the time you're gone. And that lady comes and she is different and I don't like her. Right? Is that how it goes? Yeah, that's how it goes. So he's been following me around all morning, making sure I'm still here. And anytime I'm not in the same room with him, he's been meowing. So if you see the camera shake, it's because he's gotten on top of the box that I'm using to prop up my iPhone. So, because I wanted to use more of a straight shot today rather than the GoPro's kind of got this, even when it's on linear mode, it's still got this kind of fisheye to it, which is great for this, but not for this. We left here and got to Minneapolis about noon. The tram system over there, the light rail, we need that here in Columbus. It is absolutely fascinating and fantastic, and got us to where we needed to go with not only a minimum amount of effort, but a minimum amount of cost. So it worked really well for us, and we got basically everywhere with that. I think we took one Uber to someplace that was a little farther away. I think, yeah, we went to Matt's Bar, the home of the Juicy Lucy. It was a good burger. I like the cheese. The cheese is really nice. It was delicious. It was great. I would suggest anyone find that Matt's Bar, home of the Juicy Lucy, and go. It's great. There was a line out the door. Seating is incredibly limited. And be warned, they do not take credit cards. They only take cash. That's it. There are ATMs in that little bar. I don't know what the markup is on that. Luckily we had brought cash with us. But yeah, be careful, because you walk in there and you finally get a chair and then you see the big sign that says we only take cash, and you're like, oh shit. So it was an hour. We waited an hour to get a table. So yeah, very small bar, but the food was really good. I'm glad I tried it. Don't need to do it again. So that was great, and that was day one. That's the only Uber we took, and the dude had his suitcase in the front seat. So myself, Matt, and his father, who came with us, had to squeeze into the back seat of a Toyota Camry. That was great. That's why we get an Uber with 3 seats, so that we can not be sardined in the back of a Camry, but we were sardined because he had a suitcase of his own sitting on the front seat. So you never know what you're going to get into when you do those Uber things. And I think that has been basically every Uber ride we have ever taken. But then let's talk about Saturday, and then we'll go into Sunday, because Sunday was magical as well. Saturday was great. I got to meet all of the friends that we used to see when we went to VIP. I saw Connor. He was the one that mentored. I mean, you submit your 5 jokes when you do the RiffTrax Kickstarter for the Write a Riff. You submit 5 riffs and they pick one. And he was the mentor, even though he was being, for lack of a better word, I'll use my father's term, ornery. Because he didn't email me back, and he should have emailed me back saying, hey, I'm going to surprise you, rather than just not email me back at all. But that's, I don't know if he's mentored before or not, but that was, it kind of threw me off a little bit, because Sean came back the 2 times he worked with me and said, here's the riff and here's where we think it's going to be, and it's going to be great. I think the biggest thing, though, the reason why he didn't really tell me the when and wheres is because it was the riff that I gave that they used in the exact spot in the exact manner that it was meant to be used. In Swamp Thing, The Return of Swamp Thing, they took my riff and they used it in a different part of the movie that had an incredibly similar feel to the area I was referencing before. So it made sense. And then the second one for Rad, it was in the exact place, and Kevin Murphy was brilliant with the line. It was no notes. It was great. It made me smile. And to be there in person to watch him do it, be animated, and be excited to say the line, it blew me away. This year, Mike Nelson read my line. So I've had all three riffers read one of my lines that I've written over the past 3 years. So I was tickled about that. But I got to see Connor. I got to see Bridget Nelson, Mike Nelson's wife, whom I adore. She's such a sweet, wonderful, kind lady. I love seeing her. She's just wonderful. I mean, I got to hang out with her for longer than 5 minutes, so that was really cool. You know, she actually seemed like she wanted to be with us, which I don't think she's ever exhibited any kind of emotion saying, I don't want anything to do with you. We try to be we're not creepy people when we're, you know, interacting with people that we really, really, really like, you know, and the entire RiffTrax crew. We saw Mary Jo Peel. I didn't get to say hi, but that's fine. She looked like she was being bombarded, and she always seemed like the kind of person that didn't feel comfortable like being bombarded by multiple people. So, and those are the kind of people that, you know, if you have a little bit of empathy, or if you've been in the service industry, or if you've been in customer service for long enough, you can identify the people that are like, you know what, I don't want all these people around me like this. And she just comes off as one of those kind of people, which is absolutely fine. So I didn't bother her, but it was really wonderful to see her. Bees McKeever was there. Bees McKeever did a lot of costumes and props for Mystery Science Theater, and she still does a lot of that kind of stuff. She's a wonderful lady who does some great work. Crusader Cup, by the way. We're doing Crusader Cup today. If I can get the damn bag to work with me. I tried to find some coffee to bring home in Minneapolis. We really didn't go into any coffee shops. I think we went to one, and it was in that Skyway thing, around 32 grams of coffee, by the way, in here. And the Skyway thing is a whole other thing. We may take tomorrow to talk about the Skyway thing, but all right, I'm gonna grind this at about a 15, and we're gonna have some Crusader Cup this morning. All right, ground up nice. Smells wonderful. Didn't have to add water this time because of the treatment that they do to the beans to add the flavor. So it is nice and oily in that respect, so that's good. And we got all of our grammage back. Let's set that to 0. Stop with your fussing and fiddling and go to 0. Thank you. It's always something. This is, by the way, Jason Martian. I'll link his Instagram and his shop. He does art for RiffTrax. A lot of the art that you see is stuff that he's done. They've reached out to other artists, which is amazing, to showcase other people's art with reference to both the movies that they riff and the RiffTrax stuff that they do. But Jason is one of my favorites, and I wore his Chicken Samurai shirt, or design print on a shirt to the show. And then today I'm wearing his one-eyed bat, which I love this shirt. It's a good shirt. So, all right, so we're gonna add our water. I'll move this out of the road here. Start. We're gonna get a bloom going, and then we're gonna enjoy some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Crusader Cup. Okay, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting the microphone's not here, it's over there. I probably should have wore a lavalier today. Like an idiot, I did not. Maybe we'll try that tomorrow. We'll see how this turns out. The lavalier, wasn't happy with the way the audio sounded, and no matter what I did, it didn't seem like it would clean up very well. So hopefully we can get this figured out. Anyway, So I got to meet a bunch of people that I hadn't seen for Virginia Corbett, who I met at a VIP event, 10 years ago. We hit it off. Matt and I and her hit it off. We loved talking. It was great. She's amazing. She's an amazing mother to two very beautiful kids. I paused there because I don't know. It's just weird because Molly's not a kid anymore. Her oldest daughter is in college, and her youngest daughter is 17 years old, just turned 17. So happy birthday, Ruby. Happy birthday, Molly. I mean, your birthday's either around the corner or just happened. So, happy birthday to you too. But yeah, Molly and Ruby, two very, very cool cats, and I like them very much. They're good people. Got to see them, and then their mother, Virginia, whom I adore, and that'll lead up into Sunday, actually. But Saturday night, the show was wonderful. We had really good seats. The ushers, there were signs at the very opening of the theater saying, "Please no pictures and no video," which is a standard when it comes to theater stuff. I understand it completely. However, when we went to the Bell Court down in Nashville, nobody was going to film the show. Nobody should have been filming the show. If they were filming the show, they're terrible people. But when you get there, they have kind of a setup. In this case, it was the dead president's masks on the set, and then surfboards and some decoration to make it look beachy. So, they kind of had a little bit of a setup. And it's like, when it's at the Bell Court, it's like, take pictures of the set. The set's great. But when the show started and people started taking pictures, because, big RiffTrax logo happens on the screen, and that's like the opportune moment to take pictures because it ties everything together. The ushers who put the signs up, it wasn't RiffTrax that put the signs up, it was the ushers and the theater venue itself put those up to deter people, to tell people they were not allowed to take pictures. People brought their cameras up and were like, "Yay!" And ushers immediately, there were like 6 at a time running down every single row, 3 rows, 6 ushers. "No, stop taking pictures. You're not allowed." And we're like, they didn't stop me. I took pictures before I got in, took my pictures, and then sat down. I didn't make it obvious that I was taking pictures. But yeah, they were just like marching down and just like, "No, you can't take pictures. No, stop taking pictures." And it's just like people were going to keep their cameras up and film the entire time, which, there might have been people in that crowd capable of that, but I think if there's a crowd that would not do such a thing, I think a RiffTrax crowd could probably be put in that category. But the show went wonderful. They didn't do a short. They just went right into the movie because it's a nice feature-length film, and the entire 2 hours was taken up by the movie, other than their introductions and whatnot. So, and it's a good movie. It's an 80s movie. It's a Keanu Reeves vehicle movie with Patrick Swayze, who was a veteran actor at that time, along with Gary Busey, who I think at that point kind of knew where he was. So, it had star power in it, and Keanu Reeves, still an upcoming person. I can't remember if this was before or after Bram Stoker's Dracula. I don't remember. Maybe I'll flash it on the screen. I don't know. But it was a pretty good drawdown. They're still dripping. We'll let it drip. But the show was wonderful. It's I don't like to brag about things, but I think right now I kind of have a right to. I had a callback. They had a call last year. I did a riff that I said Kevin Murphy delivered exquisitely. They had a callback to that at the beginning of this one. That blew my mind. Connor didn't even have to tell me. I heard it immediately. I'm like, oh my God, that's kind of what I wrote last year. And it was a callback. And Connor said, yeah, that was a callback. And then he also said that my riff inspired several other riffs of the same kind. And it's one of those things where, yeah, he could be just saying that, but I don't think that's not him. That's not his personality. He knows that I am a huge fan and will continue to do what I can do in order to support RiffTrax when it comes to Kickstarters. But also, I legitimately think that I wrote something funny and he agreed with me, and that inspired one or two more riffs of the same kind, which blew me away. I'm like, that's amazing. You know, someone like me who doesn't have, I aspire, I do as much as I can, with what I have. And for someone like me to get that kind of a feedback is mind-blowing, And like I said, that's just me, I guess. And then he's like, we had one person that did the same thing you did, because you pledged to the Kickstarter, and in the end, it was around $800. It was around $800 to write 5 riffs and have them pick one, and then put it on the big screen. I mean, it's in, over 800 theaters nationwide? My joke is going to be repeated twice in theaters, Holy cow, what a dream come true. Regardless of whether I had to pay for it or not, it's a dream come true. That's an opportunity. He said that someone wrote a riff and submitted it, but at the end, in parentheses, the writer wrote, or something like that. And as a person that kind of scrutinized and fussed and went over and over and over in my head different riffs and how to change the words, maybe a letter here, maybe make emphasis put here, put my little parentheses emphasis, maybe it should be more emphasis on this and that. As someone that fussed over that, someone that wrote a joke and then was like, or something or like that, it blew my mind. I mean, thank you for contributing to the Kickstarter, but this is an opportunity. For me it was, and it just everybody's priorities are different, and that's fine, but it did blow my little mind that someone was like, or something like that. And then I think Connor said, no, you need to, what do you mean, and or something like that? You're writing the riff, why would you do that? So it was just fascinating to get that kind of information, that people wouldn't treat it as an opportunity. People would treat it as no big whoop, But I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying it just blew my little mind that's something someone would do. That's what made the night really special. He's like, you're gonna get a call back, and then your riff kind of inspired maybe 1 or 2 other riffs. Basically, that's like getting like 5 riffs for free and then paying for one. In my mind, that's what that is. So, and then Virginia Corbett invited myself and Matt and our dad to brunch with some friends of theirs on Sunday, and I met the friends of theirs. Wonderful people, just the kindest, nicest. Love talking to them. I can see why they and Virginia hit it off, because they're both very friendly and very kind and very excitable at times. So that was kind of cool. They're actually cruise ship buddies. I think that's what it kind of amounted to be. But they were good friends. And Virginia comes around the corner, and I'm like, oh my God, Virginia, give her a big hug. And right behind her is Bill Corbett. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even think about it. She invited, she didn't say, she's just like, well, I'll be there, and then my friends will be there. And it's like, cool, I want to hang out with Virginia. I love Virginia. She's great. She's a wonderful person. I can't say that enough. Dad, Matt's father, thought she was amazing, which, he rarely says that really about other people. He loved her. He thought she was great. Gave her a $50 bill for Molly for college at the end of the dinner. I'm like, oh, old people are so funny. But But there's Bill, and I'm like, oh my God, am I eating lunch with Bill? And I'm eating lunch with Virginia and her friends, of course, but I'm also eating lunch with Bill Corbett, Crow T Robot, Observer, the guy that wrote Meet Dave, the guy that wrote a lot of different plays that have gotten critical acclaim, guy who I admire greatly. And it's, it's humbling to me that, he not only came, but was incredibly engaging and incredibly vulnerable and incredibly there to talk and to listen. The first time I have ever talked about the book that I have been writing, the little superhero nonsense thing that I have been writing for the past, 4 or 5 years. The first time I've ever opened up about it, not only was my husband at the table, but Bill Corbett was sitting on the other side of me, intently listening, asking questions, asking me, is it okay if you talk about it? And, I've never talked about it to Matt because, it's just something that's pouring out of my head as I type it into the computer. I mean, that's what it is. And then I go back, and I've gone back for the past 3 years. Since I finished the first big part of it, I've always gone back and tweaked it. But I got to talk about it, and I got to talk about it with, somebody that I respect and admire as a writer. And it was really crazy. And the words just kept coming out. And I think several times I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to monopolize the conversation. I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk this much. And Bill kept saying, no, it's okay, keep going. Tell me more about it. And I'm like, Bill is just the coolest dude. And since I met him the first time for the first Starship Troopers, and that was harrowing because I met all 3 of them. I met all the writers. I met the artists. Jason, I met both Davids. I met Sarah, who is the kind of like the PR person. I met Eric, who is the web guru and takes pictures. I love Eric. Eric's amazing. And several other people. Bridget, I met Bridget that first time. What a sweet lady. And that was a little intimidating. But talking to him was the nicest, coolest thing. And it's just the biggest memory that I have of that first meeting was how wonderful and jovial Kevin was, how excited and kind Mike was, and just how Bill just wanted us to talk and listen. It's not that the other 2 didn't want to talk and listen, but Bill was very into that. And he's from Central Ohio, or he has or had roots in Central Ohio. So we kind of had that in common as well, which was really nice. So I got to have brunch at Hell's Kitchen in Minneapolis with Virginia and Bill Corbett and their friends, who are, again, lovely people. But, as much as I wanted to, just have brunch with Virginia, which is cool, having Bill there, and I hope it doesn't sound too selfish or too like, I'm just really into Virginia because of Bill, because that's not true at all. Virginia is an amazing human being who touched me in a very big way with how she handled her children and all of the work that she does, for civil rights and for canvassing for human rights and that kind of a thing. She's a phenomenal human being. And I loved talking to her. And I've only ever spoken directly to her. I've never even attempted to use her in any way, shape, or form to talk to Bill. I don't need that. I don't want that. I want to hang out with Virginia. Crusader cup. Ooh, that's even nicer today. I haven't had good coffee in a minute. So this is really good coffee. So Sunday I had brunch with the Corbetts. Kids weren't there, which was kind of a bummer because I love those kids, but it was just a hell of a time. And it made everything so right. It made everything, I felt so good to be next to Bill, hearing him talk about stuff, hearing him just be a normal human being rather than somebody on a Cowtown puppet show or somebody on a stage reading handcrafted riffs to a movie that's either really good or really terrible. It was wonderful. And I hope I get to do it again. They're great. She loves Star Trek, which is another big reason why I love the hell out of her. They've both watched some of my Star Trek videos on my YouTube channel, which makes me incredibly happy. Thank you so much for watching today. I know normally I've got this overhead shot of me making coffee, but today I just felt like I needed to talk about my experience and then have coffee as a second, rather than have coffee right in front of your face and talk about me secondly. So, like I said, I really like Virginia a lot. Virginia is fantastic. But the fact that Bill came right behind her, I'm like, oh my God, I did not know he was coming. I had no idea. I was going to have brunch with Virginia, but here comes Bill. You know, I'm a fan. You know, I'm a fan. I am a fan. And for someone who is a figure, a public figure with fans, coming to have brunch with a fan, it could strike them as being odd. Odd enough to be like, you know what, I'll go have brunch somewhere. I'll go eat somewhere else. You go have fun with your friends. You know, that's viable. That's understandable. Completely and totally understandable. But he came to brunch. If anything is gleaned by me from this interaction, it's that he didn't just give me tickets last year just because, you know, I wasn't a randomly selected person. He thought about me and offered me the tickets, and because he wanted to. And that makes me feel good. And having brunch with him on Sunday made me feel really good. And I think it gave me the energy I need to keep going. You know, it's sweet, it's kind, and I wish we had more of that. Thank you for watching today. I really appreciate it. Something else, just really quick, we were seated, and one of the co-founders, I think, who's not a riffer, but is like I don't know if he's a financial backer or just a business partner, David, walked by, and we had seen him multiple times at all of the VIP events, and then we've seen him at every live show. And he remembers us, and we remember him. We're like, "Hey, David, how you doing?" And he kneeled down at us because we were seated at the aisle. He's, "Oh my God, Max, how you doing?" And I'm like, "We're great. How are you? Is everything okay?" He told us about the couple of problems that had happened. So I'm like, "Should you be telling us this? This is weird." And then he's like, "Do you guys need anything?" And we're like, "Well, no, we're here and we're seated and we're great, you know." And then he pulled 2 drink tickets out of his back pocket, and he said, "Once a VIP, always a VIP." And he gave us the drink tickets, and we're like, "Okay." And then Matt went and got us drinks or sodas, and he came back and he said sodas were $8 for a little cup. So we were very grateful that he gave us drink tickets so that we could get something to drink and didn't have to pay $16 for just 2 sodas. So so that was really funny. We had a wonderful time. We got to see people we can actually call friends up on stage do their job, and you know, it was fantastic. So we will come back tomorrow. We'll talk about some other stuff that we did in Minneapolis. I just wanted to touch on the fact that you should totally go see RiffTrax live August the 8th and the 13th. They're generally at the places that do Fathom Events. If you have a theater that does Fathom Events, and if you've gone to a show in that theater, you will see Fathom Events things pop up, like they usually do Japanese anime festivals or something like that. They'll have old movies on, but it's Fathom Events. If you have a Fathom Event sponsorship inside of your theater, generally you're going to have RiffTrax. So go see it. If you like funny, it's hilarious. It's really great. And then after the 13th, maybe we'll bring up the jokes that I've done in the past after it's aired, because then they'll be working on getting it released for digital and then for physical media. So anywho, we will talk to you tomorrow, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.